Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and it's time for a positive spin. Today, we're going to be talking about the much hated American Psycho 2, also known as All American Girl. Um, my relationship with this movie is kind of complicated. I am a huge fan of the original, and since I have the original right here, I'll show it. I'm a huge fan of American Psycho. One of my It's probably in my top 20 favorite horror movies of all time. Maybe my top 20 favorite movies of all time. Um, I've heard other people call it a masterpiece. I think I'd agree. So, American Psycho 2 had big shoes to fill. Now, is that unfair to expect a movie to fill the shoes of the first movie if it's a masterpiece? I mean, you have to be realistic. Very seldom do people strike oil twice. So, you gotta keep that in mind. Now, I watched this when it first came out. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the first one, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like it. It wasn't what I wanted. Later on, probably, and a lot of that had to do with my age too at the time. Not quite as open-minded back then as I am now. I didn't take movies for what they are. I took them for what I wanted them to be. Let that sink in a little bit. So later on, probably 15 years later, maybe 16, I don't know. I ended up seeing this was on cable and I watched it and I liked it a lot more. I was like, I don't remember liking this movie at all. But I ended up kind of enjoying it. And every time I watch this film, I like it more and more. Which, believe me, it surprised me because I saw this at a thrift store. It was brand new. As a matter of fact, I unwrapped it to watch it with Joe for Positive Spin. So let's put a positive spin on American Psycho 2. All American Girl. First of all, we're going to have a mic drop right here. Mila Kunis, mic drop. That's it. That's like the biggest positive you can think of. I think she's gorgeous. Always have. And I'm going to kind of skip forward in my notes a little bit. I like the fact that she could carry this film. Some people may not think she could. I think she can. She's the narrator, of course, of the story. I'm going to try not to give too much away um, because I think the story is more interesting than people give it credit for. Okay. So we got Mila Kunis, who could carry the film and is definitely a plus in my book. The way that the movies tied together, I thought was very, very interesting. And it made sense to me. So it's very cleverly written. Like I said, this movie is done extremely well. I'm not as big of a fan of that time period and the visuals and how they shot films, but this film shot pretty well. There are some things in it that I didn't particularly care for, but they're just shot choices that I wouldn't have made if I was, the cinematographer. Now, I like that this went in a different direction, that she was, because of what happened to her and her connection with Patrick Bateman, she decided that she wanted to go to Quantico to become a profiler to stop serial killers. That's funny in itself if you watch the movie. William Shatner is pretty good in this. I think he's a lot of fun in it. He doesn't seem to take the part too seriously, and that gets me. I think it's pretty fun. I like the narration, and while she sounds really young. I mean, she was 19, probably 18 when she did this film. She does a good job. She does sound young though. The fact that it's a college slasher is fun, and not only the college slasher, but I noticed that every time I watch movies that are like college slashers, they never, from the outside, they look like colleges. From the inside, they look like, I mean, I've never seen colleges that have big rooms and lavish living quarters. This looked like dorm rooms. They were small, concrete, cold. And I like that it kind of kept it real. I like the soundtrack. While the soundtrack to the original is awesome because it covers the 80s, this is more of its time. And I like that. I like that about this film. Um, Again, I'll say it's an extremely well made movie. The acting, I think, is really good. And the one other note that I wrote down, I like the cat and mouse game that is constantly played throughout the movie. I think it keeps it fresh and interesting. And as I said before, this movie is very cleverly written. And the end, when you get to the reveal, and it's not even really the reveal at the end, it's the reveal along the way that I think makes this movie a little smarter than people think and a lot more interesting than people give it credit for. Now, this got a 3.7. Um, and I really don't think it deserves it. I think it's easily in the between the 5 and 6 range. But that's just me. I like this film. Is it as good as the original? No. Did I expect it to be as good as the original the first time I watched it? Of course. We expect better. But when the movie's a masterpiece, you're not always going to get that. And I think that the way they wrote this film, it is a really good sequel slash prequel to the original American Psycho. This, of course, is my opinion and my positive spin. Let me know what you guys think, and don't forget to check out Joe's positive spin for American Psycho 2. Physical media matters. And until next time, peace.